Today we have the first of two draft order shows. We're going to start the day with the Cerberus Region's Draft Order show, and it's going to get started in about 30 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real Broadcast special edition brought to you by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. I see Sean Edick out there with us already. Sean, how are you? We have the Cerberus Draft Order show for you this afternoon. Let me get all of my screens set up here for everybody. We did two of these yesterday. We were able to knock out the Loch Ness and the Red Dragons region. Today we have the Cerberus first here at 1 o'clock East Coast time. 4 o'clock later on today, we will have the Kraken's region. We will have all four of our region's draft order shows done. Everybody knows where they're going to be picking from. They can start mocking. Now we just need to figure out when the drafts are going to be. So Cerberus, if you're out there, start thinking about when you want to have this draft. We've already kind of discussed it a little bit. I think one of the dates that was being thrown around was 23 August. That's a Saturday. It looks like maybe 24 August. The next day on Sunday might be better. But if you show up or you're out there right now, let us know when would be good for you. All right, let's get this draft board showed here on the screen for everybody, for anybody who has not seen this before. So we give a little bit of explanation of what you're looking at. So this is the Cerberus Draft Order show. As you can see the title of it up there in the top, this is 2025. The spots that you see across the top, 1 through 6 and 7 through 12, are the draft order positions. The two screens that you see in the middle with those blue tabletops are the dice. The one on the left-hand side is position dice. The set on the right-hand side are the action dice. Action dice, there's a list right here in the upper right-hand corner, final dice roll in the bottom right-hand corner. Here's what we do. And I'll take that off the screen for just a second so everybody can see this a little bit closer up. What we have here is we have all 12 teams that represent the Cerberus region right here on these sheets of paper, black and white versions of their logo. What we do, and I'm going to do it while I'm talking about it, we fold up these pieces of paper into quarters, and then we put them in a hat. The hat we're going to use again today is the 25th anniversary Walter hat. We put these folded up team logos into the hat. We shake the hat up. We pull a team logo out of the hat. The very first one that gets pulled out, we roll a 12-sided dice. That's the one that is on the left-hand screen there on the middle two dice screens. That will let us know where we are putting that team on the board. And then after we roll the first one, then we roll the two 6-sided dice, which are on the right-hand side. Those are our action dice. Just like if you're playing craps, you tally those two dice up, and whatever the total is matches that list that is on the right-hand side, and that's what it does to the board. Let's do what Sean says here. Push back the 4 p.m. We are getting 12 snake eyes. Man, it don't matter how many snake eyes we get. The only one of them makes us delete the board, and that's the first one. Thank God for that, too, because I think I was explaining to Gerard last night. We did do it one of the years, maybe one of the very first years that we did it, where we did not have the rule where there was only one snake eyes. And every time we got a snake eyes, we had to clear the board. And I think we'll clear the board like 2 or 3 times that time. Tabitha, how are you? I see you out there. So we decided after that year that we weren't going to let that happen again. So what we ended up doing was changing it. So after you get snake eyes the first time, then if you were to get it a second time, that's when we do the 3-team swap with the 3 12-sided dice. And that happened quite a bit in the 2 shows that we had yesterday. So if you want to know what that's going to look like, just stick around and watch, because you will more than likely see it. All right, Sean's team going into the hat. And then I think there's one more team to go in there, and then all 12 teams will be in the hat. What we'll do is we'll pull the board back up. We'll put my face down in the corner. Found out over the last couple of years that my face really hasn't been on screen, so you guys wouldn't really know what team was coming out of the hat. We decided that that's probably not a good sign or a good look. We want to make sure that you know that I'm not fibbing you or lying to you about who's coming out of the hat. So hopefully you'll be able to see it down there in the corner. As we pull out the first hat that's going to go up on the board, we will roll a 12-sided die to see where we put them. Team that we are putting on the board is Dayton Calvary and Jason Hazlett. Erica out there with us as well. Hey, Erica, how are you? We're going to put Jason on the board first with a 12-sided die. Jay, you are going into the number 6 spot. So let's get the Dayton Calvary turned on here, and let's get you moved into the number. Well, of course, I forgot to lock all of these. Hold on for just a second. Let me get everybody locked. So the only team that's moving is Jason's team. My bad. Because what happens is it likes to grab whatever is in that spot. And since all 12 teams are in that spot, it'll just grab whatever is the one that's on top if I don't lock it. So Jason going into the number 6 spot. And this is where we roll the action dice. Action dice says 8 means we are going to roll a D12. We will put whatever team is on the board that we pull out of the hat. If for some crazy reason we roll a 6 again, this team will actually replace Jason at the number 6 spot, and Jason will go back in the hat. We are putting Boss Hogs and Metric Dunnings on the board. Metric, let's see where we're going to put you. Hopefully you are parked and not moving right now so you can watch the show. Boss Hogs going in the number 9 spot. Let's get you up on the board and put you right there. What was it that Erica said? Snake Eyes talk already? Well, I mean, you got to put it out there. I would rather it be sooner than later because it makes for the show to be just a little bit shorter. So sooner than later, we got a 6, which means we are swapping teams' positions with 2 12-sided dice. We've only got 2 teams on the board, so unless a 6 or a 9 comes up here, we're not going to see anything happen. We got a number 4 and a number 6. So Jason, who's in number 6 spot, is now sliding up to the number 4 spot. And let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 7. This is where we end up pulling a team out of the hat, and we roll into an open position. So since there's only 2 teams on the board right now, it should be pretty easy to get an open spot. But if we roll a 4 or 9, we have to roll again. See who we put on the board. We're putting my team on the board, the Monarchs. As you can see, all the gear that I got on today. So where are we going to put me on the board? Let's put one 12-sided die up there. Again, this is a 7. I got to go on the board somewhere. So if it's a 4 or 9 and reroll, oh God, now here comes the talk. Here comes the talk where it's rigged. It's about as random as we can ever get, but it was so funny. We're talking the story last night over at my buddy Gerard's house about how nobody can ever say that this thing's rigged because of how random it is. And I said, yeah, even from the beginning when we did this, I think I ended up like 2 or 3 years in a row getting the number 1 pick. Of course, people are going to say that it's rigged, and then here we go. It's starting all over again. I don't ever want the number 1 pick, just so everybody knows. So I'm hoping that I get out of this spot. All right, 6 is swap teams positions with 2D12. Let's put 2 12-sided. Hey, Anna, how are you? Hope you're enjoying the lake. Let's put 2 12-sided dice up there and roll and see what gets moved around. So 6 and 12. So Jason's no longer in the 6 spot. There's nobody in the 12 spot, so nobody moves. So we're just going to roll the action dice. Action dice says 8. This is a D12 and replace the team if they're already on the board. So if not, whoever we pull out just goes onto the board in whatever spot. Let's see who we're putting on the board. We're going to put the Scorpions, and Randy McCarty is going up on the board. Let's get one 12-sided die up here. Let's roll for him. Since it's an 8, it's a possibility that he could replace a team if he gets one of the numbers that's already there. But he does not. So the Scorpions are going to go in the number 11 spot for the moment. So let's move him over there, and let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 7. It means we're going to roll and put the team on. Hey, JB, what's up, brother? You're not late. You haven't seen your team come up yet, so you're good. In fact, this might be it right here. I don't know. I had 2 of them stuck together. Let's see if it is or not. we've got a number 7, so we will roll until a person goes up on the board, and it is going to be the Lumbermen, and this is Carl's team. So we're going to roll, and because it is a 7, we will continue to roll until we get him on a spot. He is going in the number 2 spot. So Lumberman going at the number 2 spot. Let's get him unlocked and moved over. So Carl is in the number 2, and let's roll some action dice. JB, just so everybody knows that I'm not just talking out my butt and that you are actually there. Everybody see JB's message. Ooh, almost snake eyes. 3 means we're going to pull a team from the board. The only time we pull a team from a board, which, man, I don't even know if that happened in either one of the drafts yesterday. Draft order shows if we roll a 1, 2, 4, 9, or 11, that team gets pulled off the board. If not, we just re-roll the action dice. Team getting pulled off the board is 2. We just put the Lumbermen on the board. Lumbermen coming off the board. Let's hide them and lock them. I will be folding them and putting them back in the hat so everybody sees that they're going back in the hat, so we don't forget that step. And let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 5, which means that we're going to roll until an open position is filled. That means we will continue to roll. Chris out there saying snake eyes to us. What's up, Chris? We will continue to roll until we get a team up on the board. Team we're going to put on the board, Sean. Gridiron Grinders, I'm getting ready to put you on the board. Since it's a 5, we will continue to roll until we get an open spot for you. You are going to go in the number 3 spot. So Gridiron Grinders, let me find you here. There you are. Let's put you in the number 3 spot. Of course, you don't want to move. You want to just stay over there in the bullpen. All right, number 3. You're in the 3 spot. Let's roll some action dice. Chris calls snake eyes. Every time he calls it, it pretty much happens not too long after that. So everybody get ready. It's about to happen probably. We got a 9. 9 means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2 12-sided dice. Let's roll and see if it affects the board since there's only 5 teams on the board right now. 11 and 12, it means Randy is actually going to move down to the number 12 spot. There you go. This ain't hockey. Bullpen, on deck circle, pretty much every other sport we can think of except for something football related to the sideline, I guess. Let's roll some action dice. Number 5. 5 means we're going to roll until an open position is filled. So even if we roll a number and a team is in that spot, then we will re-roll again. We are putting the McCrackens on the board. Phil Reed's team, former FSA redraft champion from quite a few years ago. I want to say Phil won it in 05 or 07, I think. And it's been a while since he's played with us, but he's coming back. Because this is a number 5, we roll into an open position as filled. 12 already has a team in it, so we will re-roll again. Chris says he's number 1. Okay, so Randy just moved out of the 11 spot. So we're going to put the McCrackens in the 11 spot now. That is an open position. So let's get Phil, former world champion, into that number 11 spot. You don't know what you're number 1. You don't know what for, but you're number 1. I'm not sure what you're number 1 for either. 5, it means we're going to roll into an open position is filled. Half the board is filled now. So whoever comes out of here, we might have to roll a couple of times to get them into an open position. Because this is not a replacement. JB, Groot, we got you. You're getting ready to go on the board. So you're going to be in one of those open slots. We'll have to keep rolling until it works for you. Number 9, that's already got Boss Hogs in it, so we have to roll again. Number 7, that is open. So Groot is going in number 7 for the moment. All right. Over half the board is now filled. Why am I in number 1? Because it's rigged, and you know it. Always. It's always rigged. 9. We're going to swap teams' positions with 2 12-sided dice. Let's pull up 2 and roll them. Number 12 and number 9 are swapping. So Randy is going up to Boss Hog's spot, and Boss Hogs is coming down to the 12 spot. So Scorpions 9, Boss Hogs now 12. Yes, I know. It's rigged. It's so funny that we just talked about it last night, and it was actually Corey, the guy that took over the Cleveland franchise in the APFL, that said, I watched it yesterday, and he goes, nobody can ever say that it's rigged. And I said, people will still say it's rigged. It doesn't matter. Long time, not a good time at this rate. Probably. You haven't been pulled out of the hat at all yet. All right, we just rolled a 5. We're going to roll into an open position is filled. We have 5 spots left. Chris is still in a hat here somewhere. And figure out where he's at in here. See if we can't leave him in there until last. Carl coming back out of the hat. Again, Lumberman going up on the board. Since this is a 5, we will continue rolling until an open spot is filled. So he's going to end up in 2, 5, 6, 8, or 10. Not in 4. That's where Jason's at right now. So we have to roll again. Number 6. There's nobody currently in that spot. So the Lumbermen are going back on the board. And they are going in the number 6 spot. Chris just wants to get on the board. That's all he cares about. Says, get me on the board. Well, I'll do the best I can for you, brother. We'll roll some action dice here. Got a number 6, which means we're going to swap with 2d12. So let's see how that affects the board. 2 12-sided dice say we're moving 8 and 2. There's nobody in either one of those positions, so we will re-roll the action dice. Action dice says 7, so it means that we're going to pull one of the final 4 remaining teams out of the hat, and they're going to be one of the teams that goes in one of those 4 remaining spots on the board. And we are pulling out Lucky Ass Ferg, Anthony Ferguson's team, and we are going to be putting him in 2, 5, 8, or 10. This could take a little bit to make sure we get one of those. 6 is already taken, of course. 2, 5, 8, or 10 is what we're looking for. Number 5. So Lucky Ass Ferg is going up in the number 5 spot. Chris, you're still in the hat. We haven't seen you yet at all. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice say 6, which means we're going to swap with 2d12. Let's put 2 12-sided dice up there and roll. 8 and 10 are swapping. Nobody's in those spots either. So we're going to re-roll action dice. Chris just wants to get his new logo up there. He says, yeah, man, I'm actually pretty excited to show that thing off too. So let's hurry up and get you on the board. 6 is another 2d12 swap. So we're going to do that right now. We are swapping number 9 and number 2. So Randy is going from the number 9 spot to fill in that number 2 spot. The whole entire top row is now filled. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 11, which means we are going to lock a team if this 12-sided die roll ends up being one of the teams that's on the board. Only got 3 spots that are open, so more than likely somebody's getting locked right now. Remember, when you're locked, even as Snake Eyes won't take you off the board. Once you're locked, that is your spot. Both draft order shows yesterday ended up with 3 locks in them, so interested to see what this one's going to end up doing. Number 12, Boss Hogs. You are in the number 12 spot, and you are locked. Even crazier so how that affects the rest of the draft order show here. Anytime that we move in and around the Boss Hog spot, we skip over him. So his locking has a whole lot to do with the board more than just himself being locked in the 12 spot. So Metric, you're in the number 12 spot. Hope you like being at the churn because that's where you're at. Jason saying Snake Eyes as well. Jason, you were like the first one out of the hat, I think, and we put you on the board. You're up at number 4 right now. Let's see. 10 means we're going to do a 3-team swap with 3d12. Remember, we read these dice from left to right and see if this affects anything. So we are going to go 3 to 1, 1 to 9, and then 9 to 3. So 3, Gridiron Grinders is going up to number 1. Number 1, myself, is going down to number 9. And since there's nobody in number 9, that is the only swap that gets made. So now we can say that it's not rigged unless we're saying Sean being in the number 1 spot is rigged now. So 3 went to 1, 1 went down to 9. There's nobody in 9. 9 can't go to 3. That's where we're at right now. Sean, you currently have the number 1 pick. And we are locking another team, 11. Let's see what we get now. Rolling 1 12-sided die. Board's pretty full. Let's see who we might be locking now. Maybe the number 1. The number 10, nobody is there. So let's re-roll some action dice. Sean says he needs another swap. First off, Chris says it's rigged. Sean says he needs another swap. 9 is the best spot this year. That's what Chris says. And then Jason says, not me. Let's roll some action dice. There's 6, which means we're doing swaps with 2d12. Let's see who we're moving around. We're moving the number 1 and the number 5. So Sean, short-lived in the number 1 spot. You are moving down to 5. And lucky-ass Ferg, who was a co-champion a couple of years ago in that season where the Buffalo game ended up being short, that ended up messing with our championship game, and he became co-champion that year. Move me to 1. Oh, Jason wants to go to number 1. I got you. Wasn't you this time. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 11 again, another locked team. Only last time we didn't have anybody in that spot to lock. So let's see if anybody. I'll be back in an hour. Might be out of the hat by then. All right, Chris, we'll see you in an hour, brother. Hopefully it'll be done by then. We are locking the number 6 spot. So Carl is getting locked in the number 6 spot. So the 2 ends of the board are now locked. That really affects the 1 spot and the 7 spot as we get ready to go to the final roll. It could be interesting. All right. Here we go. We got a 6 on the action dice. We're swapping with 2 12-sided die. Let's roll these things. And the number 1 and the number 5 are swapping again. Ferg going back down to 5. Sean, you're going back up to 1. How you feel about being there the second time? Need to find a way for a team to use a draft power. It's actually not a bad idea. You got to figure out how we would assign the powers and then how to use them. Number 3, we're going to pull a team from the board. Board's pretty full minus those 3 spots that are empty, and then we got the 2 locked teams. So somebody might actually be pulled from the board here. If we roll that number, they will be pulled off the board. We are pulling number 6. They're locked. We can't pull them off of the board, so we're going to re-roll the action dice. What did Chris say? Swap this, swap that, lock this, change that, get me on the board, and then snake eyes. Thanks, Chris. Oh, gosh. Number 5, we're going to roll into an open position is filled. Chris, hey, you might actually hit the board here. Got 3 spots left, so whoever comes out of the hat, we have to continue rolling until the 3, 8, or 10 comes up on the dice. I feel like there's a couple of teams that haven't hit the board yet, Chris, not just you. There it is. The Trolley Potters finally going up on the board. You're going to end up in 3, 8, or 10, my friend. Let's see where you end up going. We'll have to keep rolling until you get there. There's 9. 3, 8, or 10. 3, 8, or 10. None of those rolls work. 12 does not work. 6 does not work. This one could take a while. 3, 8, or 10. There you are. Now you're in the number 10 spot. Charlie Potters going up in the number 10 spot. Love the new logo. Chris will have to explain it to you. I'm guessing it's an English thing, because I don't know. I just did the logo for him. All right. Chris said all he wanted to do was get on the board and then snake eyes. Let's see if it happens. Action dice says 8, which means we're going to do a D12 and replace the team if the position is filled, what means we've got to pull one of the remaining 2 teams out of the hat first. And then this team could be replacing a team on the board. The Stoke is known as the Potters. That's interesting. Average Joe's, Eric Talbot had not been on the board yet. We're getting ready to put him on the board. And he can go anywhere because he's replacing except for those teams that are locked. If for some reason we roll a locked team, we will have to roll again because this one is replace a team if the position is filled, and we will just keep doing that. So we are rolling, and the number 6 is a locked position, so we will roll again to get the Average Joes on the board. They are going in the number 11 spot, and because it's 8, they are replacing a team. So let's get the McCrackens moved out of the 11 spot. Let's put Average Joes in the 11 spot instead. And then let's blank out the McCrackens. And then let's put them back in the hat so we don't forget that part. Not that's ever happened before. Okay, it has. And think one of the very first years we did it, I forgot to put a whole team in the hat. And we had one spot left with no teams in the hat, and we couldn't figure out what it is. I spelled it. How did I spell it? With the E or without an E? If it's supposed to be with an E, I definitely screwed that up then. I'm pretty sure I have it without the E. Where the heck did your thing just go? I've got it without the E. So we still have 2 slots open. With McCracken's going back in the hat, we have 2 teams. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice is 7, which means we're going to take one of these 2 teams and we're going to roll until we get a 3 or an 8, and they are going in that spot. We are putting on the board. McCracken's going right back on the board in either the 3 or the 8 spot. Let's see how long this takes to roll. That is a 6, according to my little screen up there. That is a 9. We need a 3 or an 8. So is it trolley and not trolley? Have I been saying it wrong? Is that why I ended up putting a troll on there? Because that would make a whole lot more sense than the way I just pronounced it. 3 or an 8. All right. Well, it's taken us a while to get there. Oh, that was almost a 3. That's a 1. Speaking of 1, Sean, you're still up there. 3 or an 8. Oh, almost an 8. So it's trolley. Okay, just making sure. 3. All right, so we are putting the McCrackens in the number 3 spot. All right, that means we got 1 team left in the hat. Not exactly sure who that still is in there. Oh, I know who it is. I'm pretty sure it's Matt, the Maniacs. Pretty sure who that. He hasn't been out of the hat yet either. Number 7. So that means we got to roll until an open position is filled. There's only 1 team left in the hat. I'm pretty sure that's Matt. It is. It's the Maniacs. Okay. So Matt is going on the board in the number 8 spot. He's the only one that didn't come out of the hat the entire time. And even better yet, no snake eyes for the Cerberus region. Pretty shocking there because Chris was here begging for it. So usually when Chris asks for it, it happens. So no snake eyes. What we are going to do is we are going to roll the final roll, though. For anybody that wants the rundown of this, I'm going to give it to you anyways. What we do is we swap out the 2 6-sided dice for 2 4-sided dice instead. And that's what this chart is over here on the bottom right-hand side. That is your final roll. Something has to happen to the board. So we made another whole list of it. If we roll, it's 2 4-sided dice. So you'll have the ability to have the totals of 2 through 8. If it's a 2, we will swap 2 teams with 2d12. 3 teams, 4 teams. If it's a 5, we only move teams up and down the board 1 position. I would like to say just like we did when we were doing the action dice, but that didn't happen in this region either. 6, you will flip a row with a roll. Here's how that happens. We will roll the 12-sided die. Whatever number comes up, that's the row that we focus on. And then that row will flip. That means in this case, it'd be a little difficult because of the teams that we got locked. But 1 would swap with 6, 2 would swap with 5, and 3 would swap with 4. Because those teams are locked in a 6 and a 12, if that is to happen, the number 1 and the number 7 teams are okay. If we end up getting flipping of both rows, number 7, also 1 and 7 are okay. And then if we flip the whole board, 1 normally becomes 12. And in this case, because 12 is locked, 1 will stay right where they're at. So unless we get some swaps here or we get a move up or a move down, more than likely, Sean, you're going to stay right there in the number 1 spot. All right, let's switch this over to 2 4-sided dice instead, and we're getting ready to roll the final roll. Here we go. And our total is 5, which has been pretty normal lately on our final roll. I think both of the ones yesterday, and percentage-wise, number 5 should come up the most anyways. That's the way it's set up. So number 5 means that we will move everybody up or down 1 position based on the roll of the 12-sided die. If it's odd, everybody moves up 1 spot, and if it's even, everybody moves down 1 spot. Now, in this case, Sean, you are going to move. You're either going to end up in the number 2 spot or you're going to end up in the number 11 spot because this board is circular. When we say up and down, I want everybody to think of it as in a vertical chart, 1 being at the top and 12 being at the bottom. And if we slide up, then the number 1 goes down to the bottom. If we slide down, the 12 would become the number 1. Hopefully, that that makes sense to everybody. So we will know in just a second. We're going to roll the 12-sided die, odd or even, which way we're moving everybody. Teams that are locked will get jumped over. So 6 and 12 are stuck where they're at. We have an odd number 9, which means we are going to move everybody up one position. So what that means is, Sean, you're moving out of the number 1 to the number 11 spot, moving everybody up one. So Scorpions go to 1. McCrackens go to 2. Jason, you go up to 3. Lucky ass Ferg goes to 4. 6 doesn't move. So Groot, Jonathan, you move from 7 to 5. Matt moves up to 7. I move up to 8. Chris, you move up to 9. Average Joes move up to 10. And then Chris, you sat at 1 for a really long time, but because of the final roll, you are now in the number 11 spot. And he says, I'll take it. Anything but 1. Chris says 9, 10, and 11 are all terrible. And up makes it even worse because now you're in 9 at the beginning of all of that. Yeah, you'll get that pick, and then you'll have to sit for just a little bit. I guess you got to sit until it gets there as well. So I'll let you look at the board for a few more seconds there. What I'll end up doing is we'll end the broadcast here. I will get this copied and pasted into the Discord chat so everybody knows where they're picking. Everybody can start mock drafting. We'll figure out when we're going to have this draft. First one without a Snake Eyes this year. Pretty cool. I'm not real happy with the 8 spot, but it is what it is. I get to pick before Chris. That's the only thing that makes this good. All right, y'all. One last rigged before we go. Yeah, rigged because you didn't end up in number 1. Chris, you're the best. I appreciate it. I figured it was. Thank you. I'll take a picture of it and save it for myself anyways, for historical purposes inside our folders. Jonathan says he likes his spot. I'd be pretty happy with 5. Yeah, it's not a bad spot to be. So appreciate y'all for showing up. We will be doing the Kraken's draft order show at 4 o'clock East Coast time. So that's in like 2.5 hours. So if you want to come back in just to watch for fun, we will be here for it. And we will see you then. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday.